Thanks for staying with us here on This Morning on TVC News. We've been talking about the crisis in River State, especially with the APC demanding state of emergency, as well as Governor Simlai Fubara swearing in 23 caretaker chairmen for all the 23 local government areas of the state. So many issues that we've been discussing. I have been talking to lawyer, public affairs analyst, Fred Nzeako in the studio with me, as well as via Zoom, public affairs analyst, Alester Wilcox. Alester, let me take it up with you, for this second half. And it's also worthy of note to mention that the phone lines are open. They're open for our guests, for our viewers who would like to contribute their own thoughts to this conversation we are having in the studio. Okay, so I'm directed to take the caller who is on now. Daniel from Port Harcourt. Daniel, what would you like to say?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning to you. Please carry on. Yes,
good to hear the analysis going on. And then for me, as a Port Harcourt boy, I think these are some of the crises that we have. Crisis of one-sided. When we take issues, we look at it just one-sided. First of all, let me correct an impression here that the lawyer in the studio said. It is not true that any state has not conducted local government correctly. As of Kaduna State, Kaduna conducted local government elections back-to-back using beaver. In fact, PDP won almost about 4 or 5 local governments. So now, back to River State. First of all, it is the PDP against the PDP in River State. And unfortunately, the APC, somebody, like we say that the hand of Esau and then the voice of Jacob and all, somebody somewhere is using the APC against the PDP in River State. And I have said this clearly anywhere I go to. I can be governor tomorrow. Anybody can be governor tomorrow. The man who occupies the seat as governor of River State should be allowed to carry out the duty of the governor in River State. How that a local government chairman would insult publicly a governor, a sitting governor, a commissioner in the cabinet of a sitting governor who refuse to take orders from that governor? And so for me, that is number one. The governor should be allowed to carry out his duties. Now, you see all of this that is happening is power play.
All right. Well, your point is actually made. Quite interesting point there. But Alester, I was going to ask you, and I think I should ask you, based on our last caller's position. He said that the governor is being hindered from carrying out, his duty, the reason why he's been elected into office as the governor. Do you feel anyone is, holding him back from delivering the dividends of democracy to the people? Because it is one way to also say that I'm the governor, and another way to find excuses from delivering dividends of democracy to the people. We've seen him inaugurated some projects, flagged off some projects. Do you think anyone is holding him back from, carrying on his duties?
Well, until 4 months ago, even the governor confirmed in all his public outing, and even on the day he celebrated Democracy Day, and on May 29, he said he's only been in charge for the last 4 months. Well, the emergence of SIM has given rise to this situation. I envisaged, but I never envisaged it to be this early. Because I know that in all the states, apart from Lagos, where godfatherism wants to play its role, it failed. People just thought Asiwaju Bola Tinubu became a godfather just by being a godfather. They don't know the underlying factors. And so they didn't learn well. So go to Abia, when the Ojis wanted to be godfather, it failed. Go to Edo, Oshimolean, it failed. So everywhere they tried to be godfather, it failed because they don't know the system. Now, so when Sim came to power, remember, even his chief of staff, somebody's chief of staff is the last man he sees before he goes to bed, and the first he sees when he wakes up, apart from his wife, was imposed on him. Commissioners were imposed on him. So that means his hands were tied. Because I saw commissioners making announcements, signing contracts, commissioner for works, and all the juicy positions. So he had that issue. So there was nothing happening in Rivers State till this crisis started. And of course, when the crisis started, you saw that Sim begin to show that he has the capacity to rule. And let me also say that dividend of democracy does not mean building of roads and bridges. If it's in that case, then we should commend the military, because I think that maybe apart from Amechi's government in Rivers State, the military government of Oya Kilome, of other people, did far more than we are seeing in Rivers State. Maybe apart from Amechi's tenure, what we saw during weekend was building of bridges and flyovers. That's all we see. But now SIM is trying to also build roads, Trans-Calabari Highway, so many roads that are being flagged up. But see, for me, that is not just the building of democracy. But he has done well with the civil service. For 8 years, for 8 years plus, the civil service of Rivers State was in comatose. People were not promoted, employments were not done to fill vacant positions, people were demotivated. I have brothers and family members who retired from the civil service, and gratuities were not paid, pensions were not paid. For 8 years, Rivers State civil service, the human capital development of Rivers State was in comatose. The health sector was in comatose. But you see, so that is, for me, that's the dividend. Last December, civil servants were all smiling. Promotions, area promotions has been done. Local governments that were not paying minimum wage, he has imposed on them to pay minimum wage, and they are all having a minimum wage. So
it's quite interesting that we are getting to hear this. It's quite interesting that we're getting to hear this, and we didn't get to hear it during the Wiki administration. But would you like to hold on? Alesta, would you like to hold on? We have a caller, George, who is calling in from Ikeja. George, the ball is in your court.
Good morning, Ibrahim, and good morning to the guests, especially Wiko. Wiko is a prominent son of Rivers State. I'm surprised that since the crisis started, this is my first time of hearing him speak on the matter. Now, to the subject, I don't agree that APC is the one that instigated the trouble in Port Harcourt. We were all here when Wiki and the governor had issues, had disagreements. The young leaders, championed by Pa Edwin Clark, came to the open. The first statement that old man made was, he sent a warning to Mr. President that he should warn Mr. Wiki. Is that how an elder should intervene? Instead of calling the client to the table and settle the matter. So the young leaders were the ones who were instigating the matter before it became worse. But elections, local government elections, is not a big deal. I heard Alex was saying he didn't have the time to conduct it. What does it take to conduct a local government election? It doesn't take more than a month. The governor has been there for over a year. If he knew that they were not going to accept an extension as legislated by the state State House of Assembly, why did he attend to the bill? Why didn't he conduct an election beforehand? Because he knew he could not win. Let us, be truthful on this matter. Both parties have, the APC is an opposition party in Rivers State. They are merely capitalizing on the crisis so that they can have their way in the next election.
Mr. George, let me quickly ask you this question. You say that the incumbent governor refuses to conduct election, especially before the last administration's tenure elapsed. But then others are saying that the chairman, the embattled chairman, were actually holding on to the offices for 6 months because they feel that maybe they are not popular enough. That's the reason why they are getting attached to the 6 months 6 months term that the.
No, it's not the initiative.
So the question I'm asking is that is it that the chairman that are afraid of running for election, or the incumbent governor is afraid of conducting election for his own people, whoever is popular in this regard? I'm not sure whether you get my question.
In my view, it is the governor that was afraid to conduct elections because he believed that if local government elections were conducted at that point, that as long as those chairmen were still in office, he believes that they are loyal to Mr. Wike. And if he conducts an election at that time, he will not be able to win. For if he knew he had a number of people that are protesting, that we are seeing on video, protesting now, and he has this number of people supporting him, why didn't he conduct the election?
Mr. George, your point is made. Your point is made. We need to quickly take a break now. Do stay with us here on This Morning. We'll take a break and we'll be right back. Do stay with us.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teachers.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything.
If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet, sour taste for all their demands. A familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Good morning, Marina Station and all the passengers. Efficient, it's comfortable.
This development will go a long way in reducing congestion and emission.
The trains are a long-term solution to Lagos traffic challenges.
This is where we take the final, decisions on policies, programs of government. I will have to ensure that, the narration of Lagos as a PLC is taken very, very seriously.
This is a major pedestrian bridge linking Oyingo here to Apapa Road over there.
With this overpass, we are providing what we call a permanent solution.
This place is one of the most dangerous areas at the biosecurity environment.
This can go into the news and every crumbs of your neighborhood.
Our goal is to remain as Africa's
Thanks for staying with us here on This Morning. We've been talking about the Rivers crisis with Fred Nziako, the lawyer, public affairs analyst. He's been in the studio with me having this conversation. And Lester Wilcox is on Zoom, a public affairs analyst as well. But let me begin off with Fred in the studio. It looks like Governor Fubara is likely to conduct local government election anytime soon because we don't know what the judgment or the ruling is going to be, at the end of the day for today. So it looks like all is set for Rivers State Independent Election Commission to release a timetable for local government election in the state. But you've been, standing on the fact that there is no credible election in local government area.
And I stand on it. There is none.
So
across the country.
But one of our callers actually, said it was done in Kaduna State.
Kaduna State, everybody knew, was an arrangement. What El-Rufai did was to take his men, put them in other political parties, and allow them to win. That's all. So that there will be semblance of credibility.
But whether he put his men there or not, there was still an election in the eye of the law.
There is no state. The governors themselves know. In fact, those of them that are hearing me will know. They will just laugh and they will just chuckle and then continue with their lives because they know. It is that same hand that they used to hold the local government funds under Joint Accounts Committee, JAC. And it is that same, deriving from Section 7 of 1999 Constitution, that the state is in control of the local government affairs. Those local governments collect their money from Federation account directly? No. It is the Commissioner of Finance that goes to Abuja, collect both state and local government, and they pay it into an account controlled by the governor.
And speaking of local
every governor in Nigeria, no exception, the 36 of them, including the man in FCT. That's what they do. Let one governor come and disprove me.
So
it is that same way they decide who runs the show. They will just sit down in government house, write a name, and give the chairman of the so-called SEC. Nigerians is complaining about INEC. The state independent electoral commissions are worse than INEC. They are worse. There is none that is credible. And that is why we keep saying that the mode of appointment of the people who run these things is very important. The governor appoints the chairman, appoint members of independent, the state electoral commission. Remove the word independent. They are not independent. The state electoral commission.
Well, that's what you say.
By nomenclature. Remove that name, independent. State electoral commission, appoint the chairman, appoint the members, give them the guideline, give them everything, even give them the names that they will announce. In every state, I do not. I don't have water in my mouth.
Those are your thoughts. It
is not an accusation. It is a fact.
But looking at
and no governor can disprove it.
Fred, looking at local government dependency, budget reports, a revealing report surfaced, indicating that 32 out of Nigeria's 36 states heavily rely on federal allocations to sustain their operations. So this data highlighted in the State of State 2023 report underscores the persistent fiscal dependency of the majority of Nigerian states and federal transfers.
As at February,
how can we extricate, this?
As at February 2024, 18 states are running with caretaker committees in local government areas. 18. And the cumulative amount of money belonging to local government system that they have collected just this year alone is over 115 billion. Every governor. You see, when you go to FAC, about 49% or thereabout goes to federal government. 51% or thereabout is shared between state and local. About 26% to the local. The state governors collect all of them, A to Z. They now determine. Look, there is no chairman of a local government that can generate a project on its own. When you get a project, you go to the commissioner. The commissioner will get approval for you from the governor, and then it will be funded from government office. In some states, even the payroll of local government staff is provided for by the state government in government houses. Go and ask any commissioner for local government. And if we tell ourselves the truth will set us free. This is the situation we are in Nigeria, and that is why all those go to the schedule of the constitution and see the responsibilities of local government and tell me, could local government handle such liability anymore? The new thing now is that even tenement rate collected by local government has been consolidated into land use charge. That is the style of all the governors now. They collect land use charge, and now they decide, okay, this one to this local government. In fact, local government system no longer exists in Nigeria. And the very moment we execute the stranglehold of governors in local government system, the better for us. And that's why when there is a process of amendment of the constitution, that section 7 will always suffer, because the governors at the governors forum will take a decision and then convince the houses of assembly, and they will now shut it down when they have to make their own state legislative input. And that's the challenge we have in Nigeria today.
Alistair, we have just a few minutes to go, less than 5 minutes. Well, Governor Sim Fubara defended his position for instituting or appointing caretaker chairman for the local governments. And he said that what is happening here now is a defense of democracy. We will not allow the wrong precedent to be created in this country. River State setting that precedent. So what do you think Governor Fubara can do in this regard to show that, okay, every other governor has been accused of withholding or having a stranglehold on local government? I want to be different. I want to do things separately from others. And I want people to see me that I'm all out for democracy. What do you think, or what would you like to see him do as regards this? We don't know how the court ruling would go at the end of the day, but what would you like to see him do to show that he's different from others?
Well, I think he has acted in line with the plethora of cases that Fred mentioned in the studio, with respect to no term elongation. And so I think he's hinging his position on that it has never happened anywhere in the country where local governments, elected local government personnel tenure was elongated. So River State will not start it. So I think that is in defense of the Supreme Court position and, of course, of the law and the Constitution. Now, has he also fallen into the trap of other governors using, of course, they are falling into that trap, on which Fred is trying to differentiate a lesser evil which is a more temporary form of arrangement pending the. And he said it yesterday that local government election will from that yesterday there will be plans to conduct. And then I don't see him being as different as another persons in terms of having free hand to local government. I wouldn't see it happen in such a way that we might expect, because right now the Supreme Court judgment has not come with respect to autonomy of funding. Until that autonomy of funding comes from the Supreme Court and it is not ambiguous, the interpretation is not ambiguous, where their funds come there. But also don't forget, the funds will go to local government. The local government chairman or whoever must be could be those loyal to SIM. So there will also be the back-end arrangement. So we're having a show in this country where, well, I will pray that we'll enjoy the Governor Sim Fubara to, like you said, try as much as possible to strategize himself. Because why is people fighting to hold on to power and to having a successor? Maybe because they see power as one they want to hold on to, and out of power they are useless. Sim has always said something, and which is very instrumental. He said power comes and power goes, and he's been showing some level, a very high level of what I would call a very high level of humility.
That's right.
With respect to power. And even when he speaks with that gentleness and humility. Let it be in him, so that he sees power as temporary.
We have to go now.
One day, very soon, he will leave, and his legacy will speak for him. But let me commend him on what he's doing to civil service and other aspects of Nigeria. I'm also pleading with him to extend that dividend of democracy to the provision of social amenities like water.
All right, we have to go now. We have to go. We have to go now. Let's start
for the people. That is why I want to.
We have to go now. Public Affairs Analyst Lester Wilcox, thank you so much. I know that you have a lot that you want to say, and you have a lot of messages you want to pass to.
Let him do a long letter to the governor.
You can do an open letter. It's free.
Thank you.
I'll help you to create a letter to him.
Thank you so much, Lester. Really appreciate Public Affairs Analyst Lester Wilcox, and also lawyer, Public Affairs Analyst Fred Nziako. Thank you so much for your keenness of insight on the show this morning.
Many thanks.
And thank you too for your company, our audience, and all our callers, and those who try to call in and not able to get in. We say thank you. Tomorrow is another day. I'll be here with you again to have this